and welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another DIY video. So today we'll be doing a really exciting video and that is a DIY of this. This is my Jack Skellington Build-A-Bear Workshop stuffed toy. In my last DIY video, which was this bag DIY, this Killstar bag, I asked you guys if you wanted to see me turn my Jack and Sally matching Build-A-Bear bears into bags, and I have done this once before. Last year I turned a Build-A-Bear Workshop bat stuffed animal into a bag, essentially the same way that I'm going to do this today, although I did take down that video because I wasn't too happy with how it turned out. But today we're going to be doing this one. This is Jack, clearly. He does have a matching Sally that I bought when I was a Build-A-Bear, and I really love stuffed animals. Like, I really love stuffed animals. And there's something that I love more than just a stuffed animal is things that do two things. So in this case, this can be a cute little stuffed toy, and it can also be a really handy hiding spot if you don't want to add the straps, or a really handy backpack, and it's so cute. And if you're into the style that I'm into, this is a really cool accessory. You don't have to use Build-A-Bear, you can use any bag you want. If you want to do one of those horror themed bears and then make it into a backpack, that sounds amazing. I might have to do that in the future, let me know. This one's obviously from Build-A-Bear Workshop. It is white. I'm taking a risk by having a white bag, but we're going to open him up in the back here and we're going to turn him into a backpack. The good news with Build-A-Bear Workshop is that they have a very obvious seam down the back. This is where they get filled up, and also it's kind of easy to undo. I've done it once before. So let's get into the video, shall we? Okay, so here's what you're going to need for this DIY. Obviously you're going to need your stuffed animal. I've chosen obviously Jack Skellington, as we have already discussed. Any stuffed animal will do. You're also going to need some sort of inner fabric. Now I have this left over from a DIY I did a while back of a DIY pair of shorts. These are in fact pant legs, which is really helpful because I don't actually have my sewing machines right now, so I am hand sewing this. I'm going to be using pretty much the pre-sewn edges as my base, because it's going to be 10 times easier. This is a little bit too long, I'm going to have to take it in a little bit, but it's going to be a lot easier to use this. And it's a funky fabric on the inside. You're not going to necessarily see it, but I think it's nice to have that little extra touch in there. You're going to need obviously a zip. I'm using this exposed metal one. You can use one that matches. I don't have one. You're going to need needle and thread, preferably in a colour that matches your stuffed animal. I don't actually own any spools of white thread. I do have some white on this little hand dandy one here, which has basically a bunch of little samples. So this white thread here is going to be used exclusively just to sew the zip on, but I'm not sure how much of that I am actually going to have left. I might have to solely reserve it just to stitching it up, nothing else. I've got this grey one, it's the closest one that I have. Needle and thread, obviously. You're also going to want some sort of ribbon for your bag strap. I'm going to use a really tiny gauze grain ribbon, but you can use a bigger one. I'm using a chain for my strap. You can also use regular bag straps and little clips. Then I also have these, what do you call these, O-rings. I did use D-rings on a previous one, but I can't find them right now. And I can't actually squeeze them in the frame right now, but you're also going to want lobster claws like this, and then also one of these. This is jump frame, so you can attach it to your chain. Let's put that up there actually. And I've got a small pair of scissors as well. So this is something we're going to need. Let us start by disassembling our bear. I'm going to move this all out of the frame. I'm just going to need these. Start by taking the bear, and I'm also going to use my really tiny little stitch scissors, but you can use a bigger pair or a seam ripper. The first thing I want to do is actually cut off this at the bottom here, because it's really annoying. So because it's so white, you can't really tell that it used to be there. So now what I want to do is open up the back seam right up to the hedge, to the tail here. So if you have a Build-A-Bear, you'll know that they just tie it together. So I'm going to find that knot and I'm going to cut that knot. And then in theory, I should be able to just unravel it. Here's the little heart, and I'm going to put that back in because I'm a sentimental creature like that. I'm kind of weighing up my options with this tail. So I want to be able to get my phone in here, and this tail's going to get in the way, so I'm just going to take it out. I'm going to get my zip and just check that for length. Alright, so we're going to have more than enough clearance on that, which is good. Now what we want to do is just all this fluff on the inside. You want to remove it and put it somewhere where you know where it is. I got this bag from my occult box the other day, so I'm going to use this. Alright, so you want to take enough out that you can kind of work inside the body, and you can always put this back in, that's what I will do. Build-A-Bear fluff is really soft and it gets everywhere, so I'm going to put this bag of fluff to one side. And I'm also going to put our little bear to one side because now we need to make the opening. So I'm going to take my fabric and I'm going to measure how open it is. And like I said, I'm just going to use the actual bag for that. So I want to hold it right up to the base of the head, right down to the opening we have here. About yay long, and I'm going to add a little bit extra for seam allowance. Haven't got any pins, so I'm just going to use a sewing needle as a pin to mark that point. Depth wise, we don't really need to go too deep, so I'm going to go depth of my phone, and then we'll cut it here. So the first thing I want to do is just obviously cut down that line I just made. It's obviously going to be our base, so we want to sew it right sides together. I'm going to hand sew this. You can machine sew it. I haven't got a machine. This is actually a really wonkily cut, so I'm just actually even that up because that is not even. Never trust me to cut anything. I'm going to just sew these sides up really quickly. Just work a straight stitch and a needle. So when you finish sewing your baggie, when you open it up, it'll obviously have the stripes on the inside. So it'll look like this if you were to pull it out. Now we need to install it in here. So you want to install it right sides facing inwards, and you want to kind of make enough space that you can get things in here, but also that it's got enough stuffing. So we're going to do some crafty finagling, and we're going to sew this in so that the zipper is encased between the two sides. The way we're going to get a nice clean edge here is when we're sewing the zip in, we want to fold the edge down just enough that it doesn't have a raw edge. Push the zipper up against that edge, and then also sew through the pocket at the same time. This will be make sure it's nicely enclosed and there won't be too many stitches. You might need some dressmaking pins for this. I'm going to see if I can find mine. You don't need them, but I would like to have them. I'm going to pin the zip down first, then we can pin the inside them. So this is what it should look like when you've got all the zip bits pinned in. Your zip should just like open, like close and open, just like that. I forgot to do a really crucial bit, which is where you add the strap bits in, so we're going to do that real quick. After some deliberation, I'm going to go for this cobweb pattern ribbon over the black one, so I think it'll blend in just a little bit better than a solid black piece on this, so we're going to go with that. We need to seam rip a little bit of the leg open either side, so I'm going to use my handy dandy little scissors for that, and then we're going to want to find a little bit of the seam. Not sure if you can see what I'm doing. Maybe the idea to get actual seam rippers for this bit. Just like a really tiny little hole, just like that. And you want to kind of balance it on either side as well. And then also probably one of the base of the neck. So I'm going to get the pin that I put in there. Actually, you can probably just cut up the slit a little bit higher. And then you can probably just pop it in there. So where's my O-rings going? These are the ones that I want to use. So I'm going to take a little bit of ribbon, wrap it around one of the pieces to figure out how long we're going to need it to be. Truthfully not too long, so then I'm going to cut out 3 identical pieces, and also just want to singe those edges up. So for these little leg bits down here, take your piece, thread it through. I'm going to do it on this really tiny little one for the bottom pieces. Using my needle from before, I'm just going to sew that shut about half a centimetre up from the bottom bit. Alright, so quite a bit has happened since we last checked in. I took some stuffing out of the bear because I wanted to sew the leg ring in, and I couldn't remember how to do it, so I had to experiment before I showed you guys how to do it. So I've also sewed this piece in here. I went in from the back, so if I take this piece I'll show you on this leg. Take out some more stuffing. So you basically want to make sure that you can see into the animal, and then you want to see the leg as well on the inside. Taking your small ring, you want to insert it into the hole you made, like so, and then going in from the inside. I'm not sure if I can get this on camera. You want to pull the leg as far out as you can, like this, and then take a needle and thread and then kind of just sew that up. And there's also some existing stitches, so I always like to sew along them. And then you have the 2 little loops at the bottom. So the inside is pinned in, as we can see, and now it's time for the bit that I'm dreading, and that is sewing in the zip and the lining. So I'm going to use all of the white thread I have available. So I'm going to start up here at the top, because we're going to add that in just a moment. But I want to start by just stitching up this little gap up here. So sew up the top bit and include your O-ring section. I put mine in sideways because I'm going to be using it sideways. Put it in however works best for you. And then you want to do a regular straight stitch and sew down the rest of the zip pouch portion. And you just want to do that the whole way around. I had just enough to finish that. That was worrying. Okay. So ignore the little smudges on his face. I forgot that this table kind of leaks sap a little bit. So the zip is in. I can always go back in at a later date and kind of just touch that up. But the next thing we want to do is make the straps. So I'm going to use a piece of chain, and I want to make it long enough to go around my arms. And coincidentally this piece is actually long enough. So to attach our little loops, you want to add your jump ring, key ring onto one end, and then also just your little clicky bit. Repeat with the other side. And the reason we're only using 2 is because we can thread one through, clip it onto here, and onto here. And then like that, your backpack is done and ready to go. So let's see what it looks like. So guys, that was it from me. That was how I made my Build-A-Bear Workshop bears into bags. I'm going to be making a Sally one as well to match this Jack Skellington one. Obviously I have my bat one from my previous DIY. The bat one's a whole lot floppier because it probably needs more stuffing in here, so at some point I may go back in, add some more stuffing. But obviously this is what it looks like. I think it was a real benefit working on this white one rather than this black one, because it's really hard to see what you're doing when everything's black. Obviously if you use a matching zip you can barely tell that is a zip, but this one obviously you can see pretty strongly. If you're wondering, the arms were a little bit wet because I had to wash it because it got a little bit dirty from my table. But I feel like it really benefited from having this contrasting colours because you can see what I'm doing, and also a nice little pop on the inside when you open it up. But guys, that is how you make these bags. I think they are so adorable. As alone as stuffies, they're really cute, and also means you can still display them when you're not using them as a bag. This one I have to add a little bit of stuff inside to make it stand up still, but this one will still sit up straight because it's obviously got stuffing on the inside there. It's not as fluffy as it used to be. We have a lot of stuffing left over, so if you do this and have stuffing from your projects still left over, you can go check out my DIY coffin bat stuffies where you can make your own stuffies which you can then keep as well. So it's a 2-in-1 DIY. I really love how this turned out. Let me know what you guys think. I have a pretty unhealthy obsession with turning things that aren't meant to be bags into bags. I really want to do a pumpkin one at some point, so let me know how you feel about that. Hopefully I can get a pumpkin plastic thing in time to do that this year. Maybe we'll have to do it next year. Let me know what you guys think of my DIY stuffy teddy bear backpack situations. But guys, that was it from me today. A huge thank you to our channel members. If you want to become a channel member, you can check out the link down below. You get a bunch of cool stuff, as well as this really cool icon that was drawn by one of my friends. That'll appear next to your comment name when you comment down below. And also a huge thank you to Dryer Shy for supporting me on this platform. One of the perks that you get on the higher tiers is that you get a shout out at the end of my videos, so thank you, Dryer Shy. You're seeing this early, so hello. But that was it from me, guys. A huge thank you to all of you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Stay safe, stay dark, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.